Why is it still showing it's live?
I don't know. Let's see if it... Come on.
Okay, now we're...
Why is it not doing it? It's not. Oh, actually it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you guys are really getting the B team today, let me tell you. There we go. That looks much better. Does that look better? How's that look again for you guys? We're back again. Does it say, are we live? Yeah, we're good. How does that, is that much better? Oh, thank you. We're saying that's much better. That's better. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Leslie.
Okay, I'm just trying to zoom, but it's not. Okay, anyways.
Okay. At least we're the right way. That's super. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Round 2. Oh, my goodness. Like I say, technology is not my friend, but oh well. Okay, so now we have this in play. I can see my background sheet sitting here. I've got my trimmer. I can even see my card that I can move up here. Let's see if that has enough space to be in view. Move this over a bit. Yeah. Okay, good. How's that? Everybody good? Okay. Much better. Excellent. That's what I want to hear. Again, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're going to go back to what we were talking about. We were going to do the background for card number 1. So if you want to grab one of your embossed pieces that I asked you to do for homework, so just one of the ones, it's the full sheet here. And then we're going to cut the embossed piece to 4 3/4 by 5 3/4, and keep the topper piece because we're going to use it for, or the leftover piece from this cut, we're going to use it for the topper. So we'll just put it to the side after you, when we go to do the topper. Okay, so we're going to cut your embossed piece 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. So 4 3/4 this way by 5 3/4. All right. So we're going to do 4 3/4, and that strip we will not need, and then by 5 3/4. So the little piece I was talking about that we're going to use for our topper is this piece. So this piece here you can just put to the side, and we'll use that when we go to put the topper on afterwards. Okay, so this is going to be our background piece for the card. Here's the card here, and this is our background. So it's just right there for you. My iPad is delayed, so I just wait a second just to see that I'm giving you the right look. Yep, so there you go. So there's your embossed piece. All right, so now if you want to just stick that piece to the side for our background, and we're going to cut a white mat. And this is something that I like to do. You don't necessarily have to have it because it's a very small mat that you put underneath the card. So here's your embossed piece, and then I do a white piece. To me, it just finishes it. But you could always eliminate it and go straight to your red. Entirely up to you. Some people, that might be a waste of paper to some, but I always like to have that kind of mat to the on that card. Sharon, was the embossing folder 3D? I don't think it was completely 3D. When I went to put it through my platinum, I did have to put a shim with it just to get a nicer embossed image. but it definitely wasn't regular, because when you tried to just roll it through, you didn't get anywhere. So I think it would be sort of in between the two. So I just used a shim. You could probably also, if you have the platinum, I didn't try it, but you could use that plasticky layer that you get too. That might have helped too. But I did find it was just a little bit less. So okay, so we're going to cut that white mat. So the white mat is going to be 5 inches by 6 inches. So if you cut it to your 5 and you cut it to 6 inches, that is going to be the mat for this white piece. So like I say, it's not a very big mat at all, but to me, it just gives it that frame. It's like a framed image to me. So that's the way that I always do my cards that way. I always has a mat in behind my embossing folder. So that is the white mat. So on this sheet of paper, and again, I will post these background or these dimension sheets afterwards tonight too, so that you have that. So if you cut the white mat to 5 and 6 inches, that's what we just did now. Okay, now we're going to do the red mat. Now, red mat, you can use the red paper that you had in your kit. We did include solid papers in the kit for you. And again, I'm not sure what Courtney is using, but you could use half of a sheet, and then that would be your 6-inch piece. So you would have lots. So you can either use this red paper that we provided. It had the brown on the other side. There's your red mat, and you would have enough by cutting it in half to be able to do the mat and also have enough to do the little frame for the topper. Or I used red cardstock. To me, I like a heavier weight cardstock, so I just used a basil red cardstock. The one I used was, what does that say? I think it was just basil red, but they have so many different shades of red, so you've got all kinds, and so many people have cardstock in their stash, so totally up to you, whichever you whichever one you wanted to use. White mat goes on top of the card base, then the embossed piece, or is it the other way around? Yeah, we haven't started to put it together yet, Valerie, but yes, it'll be the embossed piece onto the white piece, onto the red piece, and then onto the mat. So that's the way that they will go. I just wanted to do all the cutting ahead of time, and then we can go ahead and use our foam squares and that if we're going to do it with the with it standing up a little bit. Okay, so our red mat now is going to be 5 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches. Okay, so 5 1/4. This is just a half piece because I was using it already, and by 6 1/4. That's about there. And there is our red mat. Okay, so this was the layers that I was talking about. So you've got your embossed piece onto the white piece, onto the red piece, and then that is going to go onto our base. Okay, so we can go ahead and put those together now if you want. And then that way we can come back. I'll just move my trimmer out to the side. And then we'll do our floral piece in a minute. That's this strip here that goes on the card just to add onto there. We can do that in a sec, but we may as well go ahead and just put these together. So again, up to you. If you want to have foam squares or you would prefer to keep them more flat, you can do it just with your glue or adhesive for the white embossed piece onto the white mat. I like to have foam squares. I like to have it popped up. So anyway, so yes, so you just have it, just put your foam squares. I'm just going to use a few just for time wise. I don't want you guys waiting, but you use your foam strips, your foam tape, whatever you have too. I like to have the dimension on some layers and then flat on the others. Okay, so there's my foam squares. Get those off here. So I used foam squares for the embossed piece onto the white piece, and I also used foam squares for the white piece onto the red piece. But again, totally up to you. Move this off to the side. There we go. Okay, so we have our embossed piece onto our white piece, and it is, like I say, not a very big frame, pretty well about 1/8 of an inch, I would say, around there. But to me, it just gives it a finishing touch. So there's your white embossed piece onto your white mat, okay? And then we're going to put these two pieces onto your red piece. And again, I used foam squares. You can do that flat if you prefer, or you can do it with the foam. I like dimensions in the cards, but again, if you're thinking of mailing a card, you always want to have less if you can, so. Right, peel all these guys off. Everybody doing okay, I hope? I always say that my cards are definitely, I don't know, sometimes I was talking to Jen yesterday and I said, you know, sometimes I think people must get sick of how I do cards, but it's just how I do things. I can't change things up. And this is what I love to do. I love to layer papers. Okay, so then those two pieces onto the red with your foam squares that we just did. Okay, so that's those 3 layers. And then we can grab our card base back that we already did. And I stuck that onto the card base just flat, just so that it wasn't, again, too many layers. Again, if you'd prefer to have it thicker, go for it. Use my runner. Love these tape runners. They are very quick and very sticky. All right, so there we have our red onto our card base. And there's our background. Done. Oh, that's great, Deborah. I'm glad you love the layers and the foam tape. And Jen, you're just sweet. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the background sheet that I had here, and we're gonna cut a floral piece. And the floral piece I used, again, I cut it in half, just in case this was one of the ones that Courtney uses on her video later on. So this is such a beautiful paper, and it had the pink hearts on the background. But you can use whichever floral piece you want. You can use, there's so many that it has, there's so many different ones that you can play around with. So what I did for this is I cut a strip of this, 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. So obviously, if I was you, I'll just stick my card base off to the side. I would cut the 2 3/4 this way. That way you're not using quite so much of your paper. And it's obvious, and it's not a, you know, set pattern either. So, and then by 5 1/2. So there's that. Okay, that's going to be your strip. Now, what I do, only because I like it to have a little bit more, I don't know, just sturdiness to go onto the embossing part. So what I do is I grab a scrap of my white cardstock. Just grab a strap here. I wonder if that would be, no, not quite. That's okay. Okay, so I just cut a piece of white cardstock the same as the floral piece. So 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. To me, like I say, it just gives it a little bit more sturdiness before I put it onto my embossed. But you can eliminate this step and go straight onto your embossed background too. So they're the exact same size. You've got no border. You could do a little bit of a border if you wanted to. I just kept it the same size. And I just glued those two together, so no foam or anything. And then I glued it onto my embossed piece too, no foam. You could do foam, but I figured the topper is kind of what's popping off the card. So, yeah, so I wanted to keep this part flatter. So exactly the same size. There we go. And then this is going to go onto your background, and it's just going to go flat. So again, just grab your glue runner or your glue and just flat onto the background. And there's just a tiny little bit of a border of the top and bottom. And I kind of brought it over a tiny little bit on the left as well, just so it has that kind of border all the way around. But it could be flush to the embossing folder too, whichever you'd prefer. And that forms our background. So there you go. So pretty. I love this paper. And I'll show you a card at the end as well that Joe showed yesterday on Together at 2 here at Clipper Street, but it's a birthday card. This paper is very versatile. You can use it for all kinds of things. It's not just a Valentine kit. So, okay, so now we're going to, so I'll move this background sheet. Again, I will post that later for you. And this is going to be our topper. So now, you remember I told you we had the little leftover piece of the embossing folder that we cut. So here's our embossing folder piece that we had that was cut off the bottom of our background. And so we're going to cut that leftover embossed piece to 2.5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so I think it actually was just about, not quite, so we're good. So 2.5. Takes a very tiny strip off of it by 3 3/4. So just like that. There's our little topper piece. So it's a great way, again, of using up the scrap of the embossing folder. Because quite often I'll cut the big piece and then just use it for toppers or whichever. So now we're going to do the same thing as what we did for our background, that there was the little white topper on the embossed piece. We're going to do the same for the background. We're going to do the same for the topper, just so it stays consistent. So you're going to grab another scrap of your white cardstock, and you can cut it 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. So that is just 1/8 bigger than your embossing folder. So not very much extra around it at all. So when you go to 2.5, if you just go one more dash, there's a tiny dash and then the other one, that would be your 1/8. And I use 1/8 a lot just because I don't like a huge border on a lot of my card making. So I do the 1/8 quite a bit. So you're going to use the white and you're going to cut it 2 5/8 to 3 7/8. So that's just before the 4-inch. So just like that. And that piece is just slightly bigger than your embossed piece for the topper. Just like that. Okay, and then we'll do a red mat. And again, either use your cardstock or use your pattern paper or pattern solid paper that we included in the kit. That way it'll match with your background mat as well. And you want to cut it 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. There we go. So that is that little rectangle. So again, just the 1/8 again. You can always make your borders bigger, no problem at all. Like I say, I prefer to have tiny borders. All right, so now we can put together our topper pieces just like we built our background piece before. We're going to now build our topper pieces to put on. So again, what I did was I used my foam squares to put my embossed piece onto my white mat. There we go. And the nice thing about this embossing folder, it really doesn't have any directive. You can go any way on it. It's a beautiful embossing folder. I can see feathers in it, florals. It's really pretty. Okay, so this embossed piece is going to go onto your white piece, and it's a very tiny mat. It's only 1/8 of an inch around the outside, so it's a really tiny mat on there. So that's that one there. And then I put my red for my topper on flat, so a little bit different than what we did, but I didn't want to have too much dimension, especially when we're going to add dimension to the sticker that's on the topper. So you can just glue this, or you can use foam squares again, whichever you'd prefer. Sorry. Okay, so again, a little bit bigger mat on that one, but it really frames it nicely. There we go. Oh, thanks, Sylvia, for coming for a little bit. No problem. Yes, please catch us on replay, and don't forget about Courtney later on, too. Red mat size, Kathy, is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So it's just that little bit bigger than the white mat. So that is going to be our topper. So now what you want to grab is you want to grab your sticker sheet. And I will use, the nice thing about this kit was Courtney and Diana provided us with a sticker sheet each. So that was fantastic because, again, we weren't trying to figure out which one everybody was going to use. And it's great for you because you're left with so many leftovers for afterwards. So it's just great. Okay, so now we are going to do the sticker part of it. So I put the sticker on with foam tape. So I put some, so what I used was I used this one right in the center here, if you can see it, right below the typewriter, Hugs, Kisses, and Valentine Wishes, only because the floral on it was so pretty that it matched the other. If you didn't want to do a Valentine card, you'd prefer to do something else, you have lots of options. You have this little bouquet up here, which is the same flower. You have this little spritz of flowers here. They're all match. So if you prefer not to use the Valentine one, you don't need to. You know, go ahead. It's great to be able to have that, all those choices. Okay, so we haven't put our topper on first, but that's okay. So we're going to put our sticker onto our topper, and I used foam squares for that, just to pop it up. Such an awesome kit. It's just, I love Echo Park. Echo Park is one of my favorite companies, Echo Park and Simple Stories. That's why I'm so excited about the Winnie the Pooh one too. It's gonna be great. Okay, so then just peel off. And again, if you wanted to just go flat right onto your bust, you could do that too. Obviously it's a sticker, so it's already good to go. Right? So just just center it onto your background like that. So pretty. Okay, and then I grabbed the smaller sticker. Where is it? Right up here at the top, just underneath the heart candy box. I grabbed this sticker and I put it on just to give it that extra little pop-up onto your topper. So you can see here that I have just put foam squares in behind it, and so it's popped it up a bit. Now, something that I use quite often, and I don't know, I'm not sure if we have them in stock or if Courtney has them in stock, but I use a powder tool quite often. And a powder tool, they come in different companies. This one is an EK Success one. So this is a powder tool. It's got powder inside it, and it's got a little brush on top, just like this. And the nice thing about this is sometimes if you have something you're wanting to stick on and you don't want it coming down. So say I'm going to put my foam square on here, but I don't want these leaves to stick down here. And they can, especially if you're putting it into an envelope. So what I do is I take my foam square and I put it on the back. Don't take off the little release paper quite yet. Okay, so it's sitting there. This is all sticky all around the outside. And I take my powder tool and I just powder around the outside of this. So now there's no stickiness to this outside part. And then I peel off my release paper and I stick it on to my topper. And I just did it like, what did I do? I went sort of like that guy there. Yeah, just sort of to the side of these 3 little flowers here. I just put the leaf down there. So just like that. And now none of that is going to stick. So it's a cool little tool to have, especially if you've got things that are quite intricate. You don't want them sticking down. So I just put that there like that. And the little heart, there was a little red heart. I think it was, I don't know if it really matters, but I'll use this one just above the bike. There's the bike down here. And you could put foam powder tool on this too, but really it's so tiny that your foam square is going to take up almost all of it. So I wouldn't worry so much about using the foam square or the powder tool for this one. So foam square there, and I just stuck the little heart just above the red flowers, just to the side of the Valentine where it says wishes. And it just gives it the dimension off of there. Okay, and then we're gonna put this topper just onto your background, and you can decide exactly where you want. You could put it on an angle. I have it just centered like that. And I used foam squares just so it popped up off of our background. There we go. Let's stick that on. This one would be pretty too. I was thinking about it afterwards, is to even tie some ribbon or something underneath the topper itself. When you have that topper, you could knot it underneath so you wouldn't see it, but you would have the ribbon that would go, you know, around this piece here and inside. So you would see your ribbon here, but you would knot it underneath the topper. So then you wouldn't have that there, but that would be a nice dimension to it. Okay, so just center this. That's what I did. Just like that. And I stuck it down. And then the only other thing I did, and again, totally optional if you've got them in your stash, which I swear most of us do, and they don't even have to be red. You could use you know, just a regular rhinestone or whatever you wanted to do. I stuck a little rhinestone in the center of this red flower here, and I put one just down here at the bottom, just so I had 2, and I could kind of do them like that in a diagonal. You could put one up here by the hugs and kisses or wherever else you wanted to embellish with. But the little rhinestones just added a little touch to it at the end. But totally optional, whatever you'd like to do. Or if you have stickles or glitter glue or whatever as well, you could use that. And that's it. That's card number 1. Pretty. I thought it was a nice one. And like I say, you could change out this sticker and then it could be a really nice Valentine card, anniversary card, birthday card. And I will show you a birthday card I did at the end with some of our other pieces. So that is card 1. We did it. Stick that off to the side. And we'll go on to our card number 2. And card number 2 is a mini card. And when I did a class not too long ago, everybody loved the little mini cards that I did because, you know, again, it's kind of something fun. If you're giving somebody a nice box of chocolates or something, it doesn't have to be a full card. You just want to have something to put with it. So that is this card here. Again, I love the little mailbox in that. So cute. And it could be thinking of you or whatever if you're sending it off with a little mailbox. So here is the dimensions for the background. So we're going to do our background first, our card base, for the mini card number 2. Okay, so grab a sheet of your cardstock, your white cardstock. And I always use white. I know everybody kind of laughs at me because that's kind of what I do, but you could always use just red cardstock as your bases and that too, you know, whichever you'd prefer. All right, so we are going to cut a card base 5 inches by 7 inches. So what I would do is I would go 5 inches like this and cut my lengthwise down to 7. Little strip off. And then we are going to score it at 3.5. So again, it's just a little mini card. There's our background. Quick and easy. Everybody's okay, I hope? Working away. Excuse me, just for one sec. All right. Okay, so there's our card base for card number 2. Okay, and now we can go ahead and build our background like we did before. And again, you want to grab your embossed piece that we had the 2 pieces embossed. So this is our second embossed piece, and we're obviously not going to use as much of it. You probably would get 2 little mini cards out of this piece of embossed. And again, it really doesn't matter which way it goes. It's a nice, just a nice background. Okay, so we'll cut our embossed piece, and we'll cut it to 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. So obviously I would cut it this way so that you would have still lots out of the embossed piece. So 2 7/8 just before the 3-inch mark, and by 4 1/4. There we go. And that is our background piece. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing as we did on the larger card with the little tiny white mat. So just grab a scrap of your cardstock again. And this could be, you could change this out. You could do like a glitter, a foil, whatever you want to do. I do a lot with white, but you could do the beautiful foils in that we have that have been coming in. Or the glitter papers too, because they would be fabulous as well. Okay, so 3 inches and by 4 3/8. So 4 3/8, 1, 2, 3, it's just under your 4.5 mark. And that is your tiny little white mat. That onto there, just like that. That's that mat. Okay, and then we'll cut our red mat. So again, we will use our, I'm going to use my cardstock, but you can certainly use your red from the kit. So our red mat is going to be 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Like that. Everybody's doing okay? I assume you guys are just working away. I'm not seeing any comments, so I hope I'm not frozen or anything on comments. Okay, so this is a little bit bigger mat, the red piece at the back. So just a little bit bigger, just so you can see a little bit more of the red. But so that one is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing as we did with the big card as well. And we're going to do a floral strip. So just the little floral strip in behind this one. And this paper I used, you could use the same paper from before if you wanted to, because you still got it left and then you're not cutting into another piece. Totally up to you. I just like the smaller little flowers with the look of the of this one because it was a smaller print. So this one is the tiny little flowers, the pink and red flowers, and it's got red on the back. But again, feel free to use whatever you want. If you cut your papers in half 6 inches, you know you've got the piece for Courtney if she's going to use it later tonight. All right, so 1 3/4. We're going to cut this. Again, it's not, it doesn't matter which way it's going. So 1 3/4, it's a very small strip by 4 inches. Okay, so that's that. And I did the same thing as what I did for the first card today as well. I cut a white piece just to stick the two of them together to give it that stability onto my embossed piece. So the same size, 1 3/4 by 4. 1 3/4 by 4. There we go. Okay, so why don't we stick those together, and then we've got our background done. So you can take your embossed piece and put it onto your white piece, again with foam. All right, so there's our embossed piece. Everybody doing okay? We have some thumbs up or something. I want to make sure that I'm still seeing comments. And if I'm not, I apologize. Okay, so the embossed piece onto the white mat, a very tiny little mat, but it just gives it that frame. And then this onto the red piece with foam as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about comments. I'm not really. Oh, there we go. Yep. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Leslie. Leslie's my tech consultant today. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, I love little cards. I use little cards quite often, but I quite often will do, like I say, I don't mail a lot of my cards. Ones that I'm doing, I prefer to just stick onto a flowers or any type of little gift that you might be giving somebody. Okay, and then, so now you've got your 3 done here. And, oh, I'm glad, Frida, you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're crafting along, Kay. All right, so then we're going to just use our adhesive. Oh, hold on, no, still have some. And we're just gonna stick these pieces. Again, I'm sticking them flat. You can use foam, but I'm just gonna do it flat onto my card base. Okay, and then these 2 little pieces just stuck together. Again, I just did these flat. And you don't have to use the cardstock if you don't want to. It can just go flat right onto your embossing folder if you'd prefer. And then I just put it flat onto my card, just because, again, I'm going to use the dimensions with the little mailbox and the Be My Valentine. So I just did it flat onto the card. and just off to the side. And again, it has a tiny little border at the top and bottom, so I just pull it in a little bit on the left, but it could go flush to the side. There we go. That's our background done. All right, so now I will grab our topper for this one. So we are going to cut out, and I don't have another one because obviously the cut aparts, we only had one sheet, but one of the sheets has love letters on it. Let me see which one it is. It's the one that has the little tiny squares kind of in the middle of it. Doesn't show it on this for some reason. Anyways, it's the sheet that has some tiny little squares on it. These are all the scraps. Okay, so this one here, the sheet that you have that has hearts on the background, and then there's some little square pieces. I used the little love letters one for our background here on the card. So, but again, you can do whatever other one you might want. There's just so many choices, and like I say, Courtney is not using the cut apart, so we should be good with that. So with this one here, I cut it out. So what I did was I cut it into just the square first. So just like that. I'm just going to use this one, but you can use the love letters one like I used here. And I went 1 3/4 across. But you may want to take it like a little bit on each side, just so you don't, you know what I mean? Like if you cut it 1 3/4, you might chop off too much on one side. So I kind of just take a little bit on each side, and then I get to the 1 3/4. So just like that. And the love letter one sort of fit right in the center of that little square. And then 2 inches will be your topper part. And I think it pretty well is 2 inches. You're only basically, I had a little bit of white from where I cut it, but so it's 1 3/4 by 2. And that's this piece here that you're just going to put off to the side of your mailbox. Okay, and I'm just using this because, like I say, I've already used the love letters one. I don't have a second one. And then you're going to cut a small little white cardstock mat just to put it on, and it would be 1 7/8 by 2 1/8. So just before the 2 and just after the 2. Here we go. And that mats that little square. Again, just finishes it. This would be pretty if you added a little bit of foil or glitter on that too before you put it onto the background. It would add a little bit more pop of color. So either way. And that I just stuck together flat. The runner is just about out. This to the side. Okay, so square with the mat. And then what I did was I just put it to the side like this. I had it just kind of come over a little bit off the card. You could come over a little bit more, whichever you prefer, just like that. Or it could be straight, but I kind of liked it like that with the little mailbox sticker that we're going to use next. It would be straight. So if you're going to have it coming off your card, just keep in mind you just put your adhesive in this area here. And I did not pop it up, only because I'm popping up the sticker. I'll do it this way. Just put a little bit of adhesive. Okay, and just off to the side like that. Everybody good? Okay. So now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our sticker sheet again. And we have the cute little mailbox that I was talking about. And again, I did the idea with the powder tool only because when I stick this on, I didn't want these sides to stick to my background. So I put my foam dots on. Here we go. Just 3 little guys like that should be good. Oops, nope. Ignore me. Don't pull off. If you're going to use a powder tool, don't pull those off first because you want those to keep your adhesive, to keep their adhesive. Okay, so there we go. So they've got their backings on it still, and I just grab my powder tool and I just powder the rest of it. Fun little tool, and I mean I've probably had this one for I don't even know how many years, so you go through very little powder. Okay, and then you peel off the backing and just stick your little mailbox on. I kind of did it down a little bit, not too far, because we want to be able to put the Be My Valentine sticker on there too, if you want to use that. So popped it up just like that. Probably could use a couple more little foam squares. And then you can grab your Be My Valentine sticker off your sheet as well. And foam squares. Just like that. Again, I would add some powder. And then stick that guy on. Just down here at the bottom. I just put it sort of to the left of that. You could position wherever you want. You could even put it on to the top of the mailbox, cover up that little flower at the bottom. That would be cute too. Okay, and then I just grabbed a couple more gems. I put one at the base of the little flag of the mailbox and one in the center of the flower. And 2 of the little hearts that again are on your sheet. I used a pink one and a red one. And I just put a little foam square in behind those. You don't need to worry about a powder tool, only because it takes up the whole heart piece. So and I stuck these guys up here. So one little pink heart that way and one little red heart. Where did I have it? Yep, up here at the top. So many choices. Stick that on. And I stuck him this way, just like that. There's our second card. Fine, like I say, I love the little cards. I think they're cute. And yeah, nice little add-on. And you could make a ton of them with this for sure. Okay, so that is done. Those are the 2 cards that we did. Now, I have a couple of things I want to show you because you can add to that, and I will post these dimensions later on. First of all, what I wanted to show you more than anything else is this is what's left out of this kit. Now, you still have Courtney's Crafty Hour that you have to remember about this afternoon, but there's still a ton of stuff and stickers and everything. So wait till you've done Courtney's. Make sure you have the product that she's going to use later on, but then go ahead and create. And like I say, it's such a beautiful palette of paper. It doesn't have to just be Valentine's. It can be so many other types of cards. And so the other thing I wanted to show you, and I will post this is just an inspiration idea that I had, that if you were working with your little little card here, I made this little Valentine pouch. Okay, so it made it just like, I'll post this later. So the sample that I made, it's 7 inches across, 8 inches this way, and then score it 4 inch. So that forms your little pouch. And all you do is just put glue down each side, and that's all you have to do. That's the pouch. And then you can go ahead and cut your pattern papers to size. I have typed this all out with the dimensions for the pattern papers and everything for you, so you'll be able to use that. You don't have to use the cards I've used. Again, wait till Courtney has her one done, but then you can make another decision. You don't have to put do Be My Valentine if you don't want to. Make it Happy Birthday, whichever you want to do. And so then the idea behind this for me was that you take the little pouch and you open it. Oh my goodness, I have trouble opening this pouch. And you'd stick your little card in here. So here's your card in the pouch, just like that. Okay, and I could see tying ribbon or something on here too. I think that would be really pretty. And then the other thing I did was I thought, well, I'll go get a Valentine chocolate bar. Well, I couldn't find a Valentine chocolate bar anywhere. So I just bought a Hershey bar and used a strip of just the paper that you have in your kit. Again, you've got lots. And stick the little chocolate bar in the top, just like that. So you've got your little card coming off. You've got your chocolate bar like that. And then you could put, I noticed Starbucks has Happy Valentine's Starbucks cards, so you could tuck one of those in there too. You could put lottery tickets in it. You could put a picture in it. If you've got a cute little picture or something too, pop it into there too. But what a nice kind of gift for somebody. And like I say, you could tie a ribbon around that, or you could pop this into a cello bag and tie it up in that too. But I will post the Valentine pouch instructions for inspiration for you too, with the sample in that too. So that'll come out tonight. So I will have that done for you. And then I also said that I had shown, Joe had shown yesterday on Together at 2 with Clipper Street, this card that I made. This was off of this sheet that was in your kit that had the bike on it and that kind of thing. It had the typewriter in that. These 4x6 cards, these are in your kit. I cut this one off of it. So this is the watering can that's in those 4x6s. I just cut it to a smaller square. I don't have dimensions or anything for this one, but you can just use it as sort of a sample and go from there. This is what I was talking about earlier, that I used glitter on this, silver glitter paper on this one. It really gave, I don't even know if it would show so nicely on the camera, but it really gave a really nice little sheen around it. And these little tiny flowers, if you've been doing crafty hours for a while, these little tiny flowers were in one of the Spellbinders crafty hours a long time ago. And they're so versatile. I use them all the time. I either put foam tape in behind them or put them flat, and then just added some little silver gems on there too. And just what we did today. So you've started with your card base, then you matted it in white, then I put it on the pink. So you can just do how many of the different things that you can use. So it's you know, like I say, this kit is very versatile. Don't think of it as just Valentine. You've got all kinds of things that you could do with this kit and make cards of your own for sure. And we look forward to seeing those designs in Crafty Hour Creations. So that is it. And the embossing folder I used for this card, the happy birthday card, I know we have a couple of these left at Clipper Street. I'm not sure if Courtney would have them at Scrapbook and Memories, but LDRS made this one. It was called Perfect Petals, and it's a really pretty background too. So if you have the have this one, or you want to check on it, you can always give the store a call and we can see if we still have any of them left. Or use your embossing folder that came in your kit today. Now, I saw you say, Gloria, that you put it through twice and the paper cracked. what I did for mine, and I had answered, I think, Sharon earlier, I had to put a piece of paper, just a piece of cardstock in to give it that little bit of extra. So I had my normal shims on my Platinum 6, and I put a little piece of cardstock in, and that helped give it a little bit more dimension to it. It wasn't quite 3D, but it wasn't quite a regular folder. So sometimes that's all it needs, is just a little bit of cardstock. I think that's it. I appreciate you all being with me today. Again, Courtney, watch for Courtney's Crafty Hour today. It'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific from Scrapbook and Memories. And it'll be an awesome Crafty Hour as usual. Make sure you join Crafty Hour Creations group. I've noticed so many new people joining lately, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's great to be able to see people's creations, and if they have questions or anything too, then we can always answer those questions for you as well. So the next Crafty Hour is Crafty Hour 57. That's the Winnie the Pooh one. I believe we are sold out now at Clipper Street, and Courtney, I'm not sure if she is sold out at Scrapbook and Memories. But that's a real popular one. That's going to be a fun one to do. And then the new reveal, normally it's the day after today. So tomorrow morning you would have a reveal. There will not be a reveal tomorrow. It's going to be the following Friday, the 31st of January. We're waiting for the product to come in. I don't even know what the product is. Courtney is sold out too on Winnie the Pooh. So thank you, Courtney, for letting me know. But yeah, it's top secret. Nobody knows, but again, if it's a Crafty Hour that Deanna and Courtney have put together, it'll be amazing as usual. So watch for that release. It'll be next Friday, the 31st, not tomorrow, next Friday, the 31st. And Deanna will post an event, I'm sure, to remind everybody. Anyways, that's it. I'm sorry we went over, but I know we started a bit late. We had glitches. Leslie, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate you guys. I enjoy doing this so much, and I always appreciate your great comments too. So you guys take care, and I will see you for the Winnie the Pooh class on, I believe it's the 13th of February. Take care. Thanks again. Bye.